Hello everyone! Today we're making a teeny mymelody, and since it's so small, I want to make it into a little keychain. This is actually going to be a gift for my little sister. I told her about this and she didn't really say anything and just sort of nodded. Now, to an ordinary person, that may sound kind of sad, but for context, my sister, I have two, this one, she's kind of like a cat. If she doesn't like something, she'll tell you, but she's very shy about saying when she does like something. So her being very quiet is her way of saying, yeah, I like that. I had her before I got a cat, so it was kind of like a practice run. I'm going to have the pattern linked in the description, obviously, in case you guys want to make one too. This is pretty small, so I think we should be able to finish it in this stream, but if we don't, we can work on it a little bit in the next one too. My other little sister, her birthday is pretty close too, so I'm going to make her a little puppy plush. I've been working at a grocery store and so many strange things happen. Like when customers order groceries online, occasionally we get a really weird order. Like 5 packages of rice cakes. I don't know, maybe they're using those instead of bread. Like my mom eats them a lot. Another time, a customer ordered 7 packages of chicken wings. For context, each of those packages has more than 10 wings in it, which means that they're eating at least 70 chicken wings. Now, the best rationalization I could come up with was that they're having a barbecue, you know? They're having a big party, lots of meat, that makes sense. Because otherwise, all I could imagine was some kind of velociraptor just chowing down on birds like you see in cartoons. One of my supervisors also had a little Funko Pop above her desk in the team leadership room. So I asked a friend about this. I was like, hey, it's funny that she has a Funko Pop. And they informed me that not only did she have a Funko Pop, she didn't just buy it on her own. It was a gift. And not only was it a gift, it was a courtship gift, which means that in 2024, you know how Birds of Paradise do those weird dances? Humans' version of those is giving Funko Pops. What is this timeline, everybody? I'm trying to make sure you guys can see this because right now I don't have a camera over my hands. And I'm working on that. I can probably get one eventually. It's just what I have right now. little while ago, I was painting my own mascot on here who wants to be a little bread cat. And I didn't think of it, but the eyes are like little black dots, little ovals. So I wonder if those could look like raisins. I got everything out beforehand, guys. So this time I actually have my stuffing and I don't have to go get it. I will probably have to take a break at some point just to take my dog out, but that won't be too long. Yesterday I saw a lady with her service dog, which was a Pomeranian, and she was holding it up on her shoulder like a baby. And it was like cuddling with her. And I remember thinking that was so cute because that's the calmest I've ever seen a Pomeranian. Usually they're jumping around, yelling, running, barking at the top of their lungs. Okay, we should have 24 stitches now. Well, right now there's only 21, so I'll just work on that. The yarn that I'm using is super soft, and I think that works really well for a sanrio character. They're so cute and cuddly. Okay, one more increase. So far, I don't love the bread cat that much. Like, I was thinking about making it brown because that's the color a lot of bread is. But so far, I don't really like it. Like, I think it's cute and cuddly, but I don't like want to buy a plushie of one. And I think that's the important thing when you're making a mascot. You know, if you don't want to cuddle it, who else does want to cuddle it? So I might make it pinker. I might make it look more like a cake because even if it's not bread, I want to make it like a cute little baker because of how cats make biscuits. Okay, now we're going to increase every 3 stitches. It's kind of funny that every Pokemon game has a Pika clone, because so far, literally none of them have been as popular as Pikachu. Besides maybe Mimikyu, even then it's not on that level, and that's a parody of Pika clones released for the franchise's 20th anniversary, which is crazy from a meta perspective. It's really interesting to me that some of the plants that still exist today, like ginkgo and ferns, those have been around since at least dinosaur times. So you could go back to like dinosaur times, and some of the plants would still look the same. There would be some stuff that looks familiar, like dragonflies, but they'd also be way, way bigger. And then there's some stuff that looks nothing at all like it does today, like dinosaurs. Isn't that interesting? It's not completely alien, but it's not completely familiar either. For a long time when I was younger, I would collect yarn without a real plan for it. So now I just have a bunch of yarn and I'm trying to use it up before I buy anything new. Okay, now we're going to increase every 4 stitches. And I don't think I got out a pencil, so hold on. So I can write down the amount of rounds I've done when I just do the same thing every round. 'This is ending up a little bit bigger than I thought it would be already, but I am using a bit bigger yarn than the pattern does, so that's probably all it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. This is so far. This is going to be the top of the head. So I know it'll be at least this wide and then like curve around. Would it help if I like move the yarn ball out of the way? Is that distracting? I've had a couple of customers at my job so far ask me if I like it and if you can apply online. And they seem interested in working at the store themselves. And I wonder why they ask me about it because I also have a lot of customers just ask me like where stuff is or where you can return items. Although a lot of people do also ask me if I work there, even though I'm very clearly wearing the company uniform and like carrying around company technology. So I don't get it. Like I have the logo on the front of my body. Is it because I'm small? Do they think I'm like an imposter? When I'm crocheting, I have the bad habit of like gripping too tightly. So I'm trying to work on that because it makes my hands really hurt and it will probably not be good for them long term. I think I also sometimes pull too much in that like makes the stitches tighter and then there's a bunch of little gaps between them. I don't do it on purpose, but I'm trying to be more aware of it. The other day when I said hi to my supervisor, like when I got into work, I said like hello. And he says, "Welcome to the show." I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying like welcome to work, you're helping us like put on like take care of the workplace. But I have seen far too much mascot horror. So that frightened me a little bit. I was like, I'm not going to explain that. He doesn't need to know I'm not chronically online. That's row 7. On second thought, we might not be able to finish this all in one stream, but I don't think it'll really be a problem if it takes a few, because my other sister's birthday isn't for a couple more weeks. So even if we have to wait a bit on starting her gift, I think that'll be fine. I wonder if I should move the camera. That wouldn't be too much trouble. I don't know if we can say BLOOD on YouTube. So I don't know, maybe I'll come up with like a code word for it. There is this character I've been working on who I want to represent like love and relationships, like a god. And what I would be curious about is having her be connected to the heart like your muscle, not just like emotionally. Because when you feel like really excited, like that makes your heart rate pick up. When you're sad, your heart feels heavy. It's obviously not exactly literal in every sense, but a lot of things about like really strong emotions and relationships, those are connected to the heart. And your heart pumps the stuff throughout your body. Now, normally when I draw her with a lot of heart shapes and X's for XOXO. And I want to find out a way to also incorporate the stuff motif. And I don't want her to look too scary either. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Hold on. I can move the camera. Speaking of prehistoric animals, you ever think about Genesect? You ever think about that Pokemon Genesect? You ever think about how we have no idea what it looked like back when it was normal? Because I do, and I don't think we have to, but it would be really interesting to find out, like, what did it look like back when it was a normal creature? Can you revive it as a normal fossil Pokemon? What would it look like without the cannon? Did it actually have the cannon, or was it just upgraded? Because the Pokédex entries disagree. Is this distracting? Is there too much on screen, or can you see okay? This is how I did my first few streams. is like this, where you can still kind of see everything else on screen. And I felt like it was a little busy. But I think you can see what I'm doing with my hands better, so we can try it. A lot of times when I'm at this stage of a project, it looks like a little bowl. And then I end up thinking about it as like one of those like magical bowls you see in like a fantasy anime where they like put water into it and they can like see the future. But this cannot stand up on its own. I wonder if I made like a little pink cat. Maybe if I made it white, maybe I could add some decorations onto it, you know, like how tabby cats have the stripes on their foreheads, and those could be like icing. I think a lot of mascot characters like Pusheen, they'll have a more neutral color like gray, because you can kind of apply that to anything. It's very neutral. But I personally not a fan of neutrals. They're not that interesting to me. So I would want to draw something that's a more fun color, even if it's less like mass marketable. And right now this is pretty much just an experiment. I'm not doing like anything official with this. But I would love to be able to make like my own plushies one day. So I want to make sure there's something that I would actually want to buy. I wonder if I could do something like how Cinnamoroll has the very simple bead eyes, but they're in light blue. And that adds to the overall pastel look of Cinnamoroll. Like if you made it white with mostly blue and pink accents, and then the eyes alone were little black dots, that would throw off the color scheme. That would look a little strange. You can crochet bowls, by the way. It's just that's not what I'm doing right now. It involves like crocheting in the back loops and making it more stable. The other day, I made a quick little painting of a hairstyle, and it wasn't even anything too complicated. I was just doing like sketches as I was learning to use gouache. And to my utter surprise, that painting popped off. And I'm super grateful for it. I think it's really cool. I'm just curious, like, what makes so many people like it so much? And then I realized that in like the top left corner of the sketchbook page that you see for that painting, I did another drawing. And that drawing is of a character's face whom the hairstyle belongs to. She is a sort of gothic princess character. And I wonder if so many people like this because they really like goth girls, which I find very funny. I made a short about it, and that was my first video to hit 1,000 views, guys. Y'all are funny. See? It looks more like a shape now. I see a lot of yellow cake. So I wonder if I could draw like a little cream or yellow cat and give it like pink details. This could work as just a small plushie, not a keychain, but it can also be fun to have really big keychains. So I might still do that. Something I did notice the last time I was drawing my bigger cat was that doing like rounded rectangles was still really cute. Usually, like in the past, I'd only drawn it with ovals or like gumdrop shapes or even kind of heart shapes. But going for a rounded rectangle that looks kind of like a loaf of bread or a sheet cake, that also looked super cute. So that's something I think I'm going to keep doing. I also made a mermaid recently that I'm super, super proud of. The Amelia pattern by Lulu and Tete. She's beautiful. Like I've made mermaid patterns before, but she's my favorite. I love how her hair turned out. I actually used my entire ball of like the gradient pink yarn for her hair, and I'm so happy because I had like exactly enough. She's posable too. I never really made a posable doll before, So now I can like take pictures of her in different poses that will hold still. Or if I want her to like sit up against like a shelf or something, I can do that. Usually they kind of flop over. And I really like how the colors turned out too. It was especially fun getting to decorate her with all the little beads. I think I'm going to need to start stuffing this soon. Not all the way, but a little bit. This looks a little bit like a garlic. I have to see garlics in the produce section of my store all the time now, so they're kind of burned into my memory. The other day, I also saw leeks for the first time. I was like, that's what Miku's carrying around? It's gigantic. It was so thick and heavy. It looked like some kind of club. This whole time, I thought they were smaller, like green onions. But now I see why Sirfetch'd in Pokemon can use them as like a sword. I thought they were like blades of grass. They are not. I don't think it would be a very effective sword, but it would be a good club. It's a little odd to me that people say Sneasler looks like someone's fursona. Because I get that it's like really tall and lanky looking, but I don't think that's because it's meant to look like a human. I think it's because it's inspired by weasels. The Sneasel line is inspired by both cats and weasels, among other things. Weasels have a very long shape. They look like some kind of weird noodle to me. They always look like they'd be slimy, even though they're very clearly furry. So, yeah, it's also supposed to look like a mountain climber, but I think the main reason why it's so long is just weasel. Okay, you're supposed to have 24 stitches. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 18, 19. What did I do? Hold on. Let me see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 22. 1 second. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 23. Okay, that should be 24. All right. So next we're going to decrease every 2 stitches. It surprised me a little bit when people first saw like Musharna, the Pokemon, and they thought it looked like a fetus. Because it doesn't really to me, but I was looking at it earlier and I think it's because of like the pose. It's like curled up. Maybe it looks like the fetal position. And it's very clearly breathing some kind of smoke out of its nose. But I wonder if to some people, especially in the sprite art, especially if you haven't read the Dex entries yet, I wonder if to some people that looked like an umbilical cord. I don't think that was intentional. It's mainly inspired by the Baku, but that's interesting. Maybe there's like legends about babies being able to sense dreams or something. The other day, I also saw beets for the first time. I don't like them, so I usually don't eat them. And they were like the size of my head. They're gigantic. I was like, they're that big? For some reason, I thought you could like hold them in your hand like this. All right, gonna start stuffing this now. Okay, that's it so far. All right, so next I think we just start working right on the body. We don't like fast enough. Okay. So we make 6 chains. I think that means you just chain 6 stitches. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm seeing this right. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Then it says SC the first 4 stitches. Okay, I think that means you start here. Some crocheters do things a little differently, so it's important to make sure you understand what they're actually saying. When I was little, due to a mix-up, I accidentally first learned crochet using the UK terminology, and that was very confusing. Wait, it says make 6 chains, single crochet in first 4 stitches, 3 single crochet in last chain. Oh, I think it means we need to crochet into the chain, and we're skipping the first one. Okay, hold on. One. This is twisting along. Hold on. 2. It is important if you're crocheting in chains like in a ring, like if you're making a donut, don't let it twist because that will make the project very difficult. But I don't think it'll really be a problem here. Okay, the last chain here, we do 3 single crochet in. Okay, now working on the opposite side of the starting crochet, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches and 2 single crochet in the last chain. Okay, I think that's like turning your work. So we start like here. I don't really understand what this is going to be, because at first I thought it was going to be the arm. But no, you make the arms later. I'll tell you if it doesn't work, but for now we're just going to see what happens. Okay, this one we're going to do 2 single crochet in. This says to crochet the first single crochet in the second chain from the hook, which is very interesting because there aren't any chains left, so maybe they mean this one. This also isn't connecting to the head like at all. Maybe we were supposed to fasten off the head, because it didn't say that, but this isn't making any sense otherwise. Hold on. Let me fix up that last decrease. We'll put that to the side for now. Okay, let's see if this works better. Start with a slip knot, obviously. I actually do like crocheting like this, where you crochet around a chain. It's fun. Six. Okay. As a general rule, you start crocheting in the second chain from the hook because it doesn't really work to do it in the first chain, so I get that. One, two, three, four, and then 3 in this last one. Okay. All right. Okay. 2 single crochet here. This says to use a scrap of yarn to make each end of a row, but I think that just means you need to use like a stitch marker to mark where the rows start and end, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, 2 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Two, three. Okay, we're going to do 2 crochet in each of these last 2 stitches. When I'm done, I might sew this part up because it's got a lot of gaps. All right, for rounds 3 to 6, we're just gonna single crochet in each stitch around. It looks like the body is going to be flat. That is interesting. That could make for a good keychain. It is a little bit funny to me that Pusheen is like a tabby cat, because I have a cat myself that is also at least part tabby. She's some kind of mutt. So when I got a Pusheen planner, I showed it to her and I said, "Kittykins, it's like you." And she did sniff it for a minute and then she just turned and coldly walked away. And 3. Oh, this says we are going to stuff this, the body at the end. So I guess I just don't see how that's going to work yet. I don't think I've ever made something that starts with like crocheting around a chain and then you stuff it. At least not like this. It's very interesting. My dog, well, she's my whole family's dog, but she is a fully adult dog. I'm not sure she realizes that because she has so much energy and she's very clingy. She always tries to sit on the couch with us or on top of us. It's like, girl, you're bigger now. If you sit on us for too long, your feet are going to fall asleep. Okay, that's round 5. Oh, I see it now. It's like a little dish. Then maybe when we decrease on this side, it'll get smaller and it'll form a little oval. Melody has lots of oval shapes, very round. It makes her look nice and friendly. That's round 6, okay. Now we're going to start the decreases. This doesn't ask you to like close this all the way off once you're done stuffing it. So I think we're definitely going to sew the body onto the head once we're all done. The arms, you are also going to make like little pockets like this so you could stuff them. But it asks you not to stuff them. I think just because they're going to be so small, it wouldn't really matter. The feet and legs you will be stuffing though, because they're very squishy, very squishy. You know something else that happens when I'm drawing my little baker cat? I always forget to draw the whiskers. And I'm like, what's missing? Then you look at some other drawing that does have the whiskers, and I'm like, oh, no wonder it doesn't look like a cat. Cat whiskers are kind of important. My family has this kitten that is like, he hasn't gotten much bigger since he was a baby. He's an adult now. He's just a very small cat. And yet his whiskers are like this wide. His head is like this. His whiskers are like this. And I just want to know why. Because to my knowledge, a cat's whiskers are as wide as like the widest part of their body. And these look much bigger than that. My mom thinks it's because he's like a male cat and they somehow have bigger whiskers, like a mustache. I don't think that's a thing, but maybe their whole body tends to be bigger. So their whiskers not bigger? I don't know. He looks kind of like a really little kid wearing a massive fake mustache. It is very cute. Okay, I think I see it now. Like this is the bottom and the neck would be up here. We might not be able to attach it today, but I think we can make like the actual chain part of the keychain later. This says to hide the yarn ends, but I feel like we should leave them for sewing. If they end up being too short, then we can hide them then. Okay. Let's stuff this. It says to stuff firmly. Okay. Let's add a little more. Okay. That should be good for now. We'll put the head on top eventually like this. Right now it looks like a tiny mushroom. And for now, I have to take out my dog, so that will just take a couple minutes. And when we get back, we will start working on the legs. All right, real quick, just so we can get started on it today, I want to make the actual chain part of the keychain, and then we can get started on the foot if we have time. Ordinarily, what you would do here is obviously get like an actual chain, but this was kind of a last minute project. So I'm just going to use some of my jump rings. I'm going to attach them to each other, and that will be the chain. We shouldn't need too many. Like if you look at the head. I'm not going to attach it onto the head right away because we need to make the hood and stuff first. But I do want to just see how long the chain will be. Also going to need a clasp, obviously. Okay. I have a couple of gold clasps because that's just what came in the package. And I do not know what to do with them because none of my other jewelry equipment matches them. Okay. So I could use this one, or I could use this one. My sister is pretty small, so I don't want to make this too difficult for her. Okay. I think that's the right size. Okay. I've worked with jewelry a little bit before. It's not like my main interest, but I might get more into it one day. Do you think that's enough chain? It could be a little longer, I think. That looks better. Okay. Use this smaller one because I think it'll be sturdier, and I just want to make sure it's like big enough to also hold onto the clasp. If it's not, I can use the next smallest. Okay, good. Let's go, it's working. I do need to make sure this closes all the way. I might have to size it up for that reason. All right. I hope that holds nice and strong. I think it should. Just, you know, this is metal. It's hard to like move around to get it to go exactly where you want it to. So usually I kind of squish it like that. How on earth do people close their jump rings like perfectly? Is there some kind of arcane secret of the jewelry making community that I don't know about, or do you just kind of struggle? Okay, that's better. Okay. So once we're all done, the rest of our project, we can put this on. Okay, let's start on the leg. I need to start with the chains again. Hold on. Three crochet in the last chain. This is a really interesting way of making the legs. I think usually someone would start with the magic ring, and it's not a criticism, I'm just interested by it. Okay. Next, we're going to start decreasing already. I'm not reading everything I'm doing out loud because I'm focusing on it, but again, I will be linking the patterns so you can follow along if you want. You ever think about Calyrex, the Pokemon Calyrex? Because I do. I think it's really cute and round with its big head. But it is also interesting to me that it just like floats around like an alien and possesses people. They like lean back and they're like moving around like a zombie, and then it like speaks through them. And one of its abilities is unnerve. I don't think this would have been planned to be creepy at all because it's like a mascot for the DLC, but it is a little bit. And again, because of the ability and the movements and stuff, that does seem like slightly intentional. I just want to know why, because Calyrex is a really kind Pokemon that really cares about human beings and is a little bit silly. Okay, now 2 rounds of just normal single crochet. Yeah, this definitely says to leave a long tail for sewing. I might make an arm next. I get bored just making all the legs and then all the arms. Okay. I only have 2 stitch markers at this point. I don't know what happened to the rest of them, but they're gone. So I might have to get more eventually. Or maybe just like paper clips. Just like I lost my row counters, one of them broke and I don't know what happened to the other one. It was just like digging around in my crafting bag and it was not there. So I guess that's just what I'm dealing with. All right. This we will be stuffing in just a moment. Okay. This is another thing that I'll probably patch up a little bit once we're all done, because the early part with the chain is just very stretched out. All right, now we're going to make an arm, and then we should be done for today. Not with the whole project. It's 3 more rounds of 6 stitches. And I'm doing just six crochet rows. I just count to 6 because that's easier for me to keep track of. I don't really use stitch markers. But once you get into, any kind of bigger row, that takes more brain power. These are going to be super cute once they're done. They look like little marshmallows. I wonder if we'd have time to do like one more leg. These are going quicker than I thought they would. It's like a little nub. Okay. There's the first arm. This is the second leg. I've been learning a bunch of new crochet techniques recently. Like when I was making the Amelia mermaid, for the tail, I had to learn to do a completely different like style of stitch. I couldn't really explain it without looking at it. But it was supposed to look like fish scales, and that's why her tail looks the way it does. I would never have thought of that. I would have just like crocheted it normally and gone like, just imagine it's scales. But it's really interesting to see what people will come up with. How do you just make a pattern? Like, there must be so much math. Like, dude, don't you have to do it over and over again? I don't know. I need to make sure I have the right number. Hold on. I need to have 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'll just add one more. A little while ago, my mom was explaining trains, and she says that the caboose also like decides the direction of the train a little bit, and I want to know how that's possible because it's the last in the line. I wonder if I could make like my own plushie one day. Even if I just like, not like quote unquote professionally, like I just sew it out of fabric that I can find. But I want to be super, super confident in the design. And like, I love character design and stuff, but I think I'd want like professional help. Like someone who's already employed before I felt totally comfortable going, yeah, that's finished. I do it as a hobby a lot, but I've never done it for like a customer. So I think it would be helpful to have a more experienced eye. How many is this? It says I should have 10 stitches in this round. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. That's so weird. Maybe it's just a typo. Let me see how many we ended up with in the last one. Yeah, it was 8. Okay. It happens. Typos happen. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't wait until we can pin all the pieces together and sew them. I love that part. I wonder if I should embroider the face before or after that. I feel like it's easier to place the face once everything is put together. Although usually patterns will tell you to put on the face just when you're finishing up the head. This one didn't do that, so I think we're going to do it later. Oops. That's why I've got to sew later, guys. You do not want to be able to stab through. What? We don't want to be able to stab through the bottom of the leg with our stuffing stick thingy. I don't know what this is called. Maybe it's a dowel? Also so that the stuffing will not fall out, because that would be embarrassing. Boop, boop. The legs are like 2 little boots. Okay. There's the 2 legs. My hand is aching a little bit, so I think we're going to be done for today. Give it a rest. And then the next time we crochet, which will be tomorrow, we can finish this up and start working on a little puppy plushie. So I'll see you in the next one.